In 2023 and beginning of 2024, the world of DevRel is in a little bit of a bind. It's not super easy to figure out this is what a DevRel does and this is how they impact businesses. And you now see companies that have to be like, okay, we have to now start making money. We're going to kill the free tier. What do we do with the DevRels? We kind of let's lay them off. And then there's other companies that didn't make the money but still have the free tier. And like, how do we then deal with DevRels? They don't attribute to an ARR or an MRR directly. So where is their impact? And so in this video, I have interviewed Jake Ward from Data Protocol, and he created Data Protocol with this all in mind: how to create a learning platform that developer relations teams can actually use, and then create courses on it and get insights and make sure that these DevRels have numbers and things to show that say, hey, this is what we did and this is our worth and this is how we impact what DevRel does for your company. So without further ado, this is the interview with Jake Ward from Data Protocol.
Good morning, Tim. It's great to be here. Thank you. I'm Jake Ward. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Data Protocol. Yeah, 2023 and 2024 is not off to a good start. I think that the discipline of developer relations is as important today as it's ever been, but the appreciation for the people that are doing the job is decreasing with every riff, right? The many incredibly qualified and talented developer relations, developer advocates, pros have lost their jobs in the past 14, 15 months. A big chunk of that is because historically, developer relations has sat under either marketing or product or somewhere in between around engineering, and that it was understood that much of the value they generated was inherent, that there was a need to communicate with your developer audience, your stakeholders, your customers, your users, but that it wasn't particularly feasible to measure that engagement, right? You could correlate it. You could understand that a reduction in tickets or breakage was directly related to the support you were providing on the front end. You could look at growth and say that that was a matter of better product marketing, et cetera, et cetera. But in tough economic times and years of efficiency like we've had over the last 2 years, the hard to define and vague metrics around developer relations were the first to go. All right, they were the lack of concrete deliverables made them easy targets.
It's like there seems to be a kind of a hot and cold kind of thing going on with DevRels. Over time, they all get hired because we realize, oh, we need like education, we need first line support, we need people that really know our product and then help developers directly. And then at one point, like this year and last year, people get laid off because, no ARR or no accreditation or like those kind of things. And then it comes back around. And so what do you make of this? Like being a startup founder yourself, do you have any sort of insights in how does it kind of happen that these ebbs and flows of we need DevRel, like how does that work?
Well, I think some of it is in the nature of developers as a target audience, which is they are mercurial, right? There's a real ebb and flow to the way that developers adopt tools, integrate tools, the way that they use different tooling. And so you're a startup founder, you raise money, you've got an idea, you're going to build this thing. You need developers to use your stuff. The first thing you do is go looking for developer whisperers, right? Somebody who knows where they are, somebody that can do the technical work, somebody that can go to the events, can bring a following. And so that there's a number of DevRel folks like yourself that have built personal brands through content creation. You bring an audience with you wherever you go. And every founder that is going to build a business that's developer dependent needs somebody to unlock that first wave of users, because that's how you iterate, right? That innovation funnel is driven by users and feedback. But then what happens is many of them don't work because that's the nature of startups and they fail. And so assume that those jobs are gone because those companies are probably going out anyway. And then the next wave of folks is a more substantial company like Slack or Snap or Box, right? These are companies with real market caps, a ton of money, but they're making decisions throughout their departments based on revenue and looking at KPIs. Their life cycle, when things are really good, they put up new objectives, new stretch goals. Let's do this. Wouldn't it be cool if we had a certification for that? At Snap, they built an entire LMS program around a learning management system program around the Lens product set so they could teach creatives how to use it. That's a great idea. Right? That's how you drive user base around a new product that nobody knew existed 3.5 years ago, while creating a new industry around this idea of businesses focused on this platform. But when times go the other direction and your shares are down, you got to make cuts to make the street respond. Where do you look for those below the line jobs? It's the ones that aren't paying off, right? That's a long lead investment. Whereas there are database companies right now in the last 2 weeks that blew out their entire developer education program because they've made the move to be profitable, right? They're done being a startup. They're going to move into this space where they don't have a free product anymore. They're straight enterprise. They're going to sell. Then you don't need a team whose job it is to advocate and generally build support for your free product. All of those jobs are lost. And it isn't because those people aren't incredibly talented, and it isn't because they don't do good work. It's because their work doesn't directly correlate to revenue on a spreadsheet.
Listen to this, kids. This is teaching us because DevRel is quite young. And I know there's a few people who've been doing this for like 10 years, but this stuff is like relatively new. And so when I hear you here, do you think DevRel is there to get like signups? Or is DevRel there to, when the signups are there through marketing, to actually keep them in and then start engaging more?
So
What
I
to
think that
you is
there's
the one, Sorry,
I
go
think
on.
it depends. No. So I think it depends on the company, right?
Yeah.
The roots of DevRel actually go all the way back to Apple in the early days in the 80s, where they were teaching developers how to build on this closed network so that they would have a system and an ecosystem to support. And then that churned and churned and churned. Daniel Lewin, who is now the head of the computing museum in the Valley, was the head of DevRel at Microsoft in like 1986. This is not a new profession, but the discipline that we think about, where it's conference going, it's speaking, it's supporting technical writing and doing support through blogs and announcements. That's relatively new. That requires at least 3 disciplines within a team and maybe even within a person. One of those is being able to advocate for your product and say, "This is what we do. This is really great. Here's how you can use it." I think of Twilio 10 years ago, right, where Rob Spector and Keith Casey and those guys were out doing direct one-to-one, often showing people how to put Twilio in their apps when it became this big ecosystem player. The next piece is marketing, is thinking about where your developer lives, your ICP, individual developer on a mass scale, and then informing the product cycle with your marketing team, right? What is the language on your website? What do your ads look like? What does your event schedule look like? That's straight marketing, which is frankly a discipline that I'm terrible at, but that is required of many DevRel pros now. And then the last piece is being an internal advocate. It's being able to take the feedback from your developers in mass, whether it's through your common room engagement, through event programming, playing with the tool yourself, and saying to your engineering team, "This is great, but we also need to do this," or "This is wrong, can we fix this?" or "Documentation is lacking here. We're getting too much breakage," right? It's done well. Developer relations can be the heart of your programmatic approach to product marketing, product sales, and product support.
That sounds like it's a really it depends kind of job based on your company and what direction you want to go. And so let's scope it down a little bit to talk also about what data protocol is actually doing. Because when we look at how people learn, like there's a few different ways, right? And so can you talk to me about what you do at data protocol and what kind of captures people the best in your experience?
So my experience with the developer ecosystem started in 2012 when I launched the Application Developers Alliance, which was the first of its kind sort of advocacy organization for then about 25 million software developers. I think we're closer to 32 million now. But the idea was born of an experience that I had working with Google and Intel on Google TV 1,000 years ago, long before every TV was a smart TV. The this is this is Google and Intel not knowing where developers were, not knowing how to engage them, not knowing how to build cool killer apps, and sort of chasing the coattails of Apple coming out of the box, right? And so I started this process, and it was a real moment of, oh, nobody knows how to talk to developers. Nobody fully understands how to engage and ask questions, pull that information out, and apply it to a broader problem. Data protocol is the natural continuation of my hopes and dreams of being able to do that at scale. Think of data protocol as it's a web app. It's a web application that scales your developer program in a way that treats every single partner as if they are a managed partner, right? As if they can pick up a phone and call you and say, "Tim, I broke this thing. Can you help me?" That is the goal. Most developers are stuck reading dev docs, reading blog posts, asking Reddit, going to Stack, going to ChatGPT now, going to Copilot, like figuring out how to solve a problem, which is inherent to the job of being a developer. But if you could watch a 3-minute video, which is a lot of what YouTube has become, but that's largely promotional, not problem solving. If you could watch a 3-minute video on how to navigate a particular compliance requirement from your largest partner, for example, instead of taking the chance that you're going to get it wrong or rereading, command effing your way through a dev doc. That's a better
That's me
way.
all the way, by the way.
Totally. It's most
Yeah,
people. I mean, that's
yeah,
how that's the value of developer documentation is that it's right there on the page.
yeah,
The real drawback is that there's no order that's inherent to the prioritization you're dealing with. It's
sure.
inherent to the prioritization of the person who wrote it.
Yeah.
Video is a way of delivering information to you in a conversational form where on data protocol, we ask questions, we deliver notes, we give you the resources, we curate the links. It's like you sat down with a developer relations pro for 3 minutes, and the end result is you feel smarter. That's the learning part of it. You have more confidence, which is inherent to knowing more. And then ultimately, you break things less, right? You build more responsibly, you build faster. That information also sticks longer. The proficiency, the retention, all of that is cooked into it. This is not an LMS for developers. What it is an engagement platform that it empowers companies to better support their developers by teaching them things, by giving them information, by talking to them in a way that feels more like a conversation than sending them a memo.
And so when you make a program like that, let's say I work at HighGraph, we're going to do one of those programs. Do you then also offer things that other LMSs offer, like certification, badges,
We
gamification?
Sure,
You did well stickers, things like that. Is that
sure.
something that you feel works? Do you have all that?
We do have it. We think it works. We do a pretty good chunk of that depending on the partners. But let's say we were building something for HighGraph, right? You have a new product coming out, or your documentation is fairly successful, but you're getting a lot of bounce pre-registration. My team comes in and says, "All right, Tim, walk me through the life cycle." They do a 30-minute discovery call, and they identify the breakage points based on your experience. Then they write the outline and show it to you, and then they write a script of a 4.5-minute video in which you are saying to an audience of pre-registered, like this is before they convert, welcome to the page developers, and we come in, we shoot it, right? We do all the post production, we do all the graphics, all the animation. The end result is what we call a short code that is a 4.5-minute video that somebody can watch and know everything you'd want them to know if you had them in front of you for 4 minutes. And the end result is they can make a decision then. They're beyond discovery, they're into evaluation, and they're about to get to adoption. Now you know, because they are a registered user on data protocol, who's leaving, why they're churning, what they came for in the first place, and you can prove the front end marketing as well as the conversion point for registration. If that then grows into a full curriculum in which you're doing courses and short codes and certifications where there's a series of what we call learning tracks, right? You have to take this course before you take this one. Then yes, we would certainly do badging. We would do certification. We would do progress tracking, so that there. I mean, a lot of developers are completionists. I don't think there's any question about that, and there's a ton of value in that. But we also build programming where we're begging people to get off the screen, right? Where we're putting notes and links everywhere so that when you get the answer you need, you click and then you're gone. So we have thousands of videos that are 26% completed, and we think of that as a win because they got the answer. That's I'm obsessed with this idea of a problem index, where it's like, how many problems did we solve today? Which is links clicked, uh, answers to questions. Yeah, answers to questions, like an extended. Nobody watches a video for 93 seconds if they aren't interested in the topic, right? It's not like they came in, saw it, and was like, "This isn't for me," and left. They stayed until they got an answer to their question. That's what I wanna know, that we solved their problem. And as long as we can push that through on all of our courses, all of our short codes, all of our even the work that we do where we're promoting information and hosting it on your site. So that's another thing, another offering we have is, you know, you obviously have all of the capability and all of the technology you need to record videos. But if you're expanding your program, my team can help you with the scripting and the graphics and all the post production. So instead of doing one a week, you can do five. That content then lives on your site. It doesn't have the questions, it doesn't have the CLI interface, it doesn't have those sentiment components, but what it does have is the initial metrics of how many people are taking it and what links they're clicking. And those links could then come into data protocol or onto your platform. The end result being you have a clearer picture of what people want. Are they getting what they need? Are they making good decisions based on the information you're giving them?
I love this because it's kind of coming back to that. How can I, as a DevRel, show my worth without having an ARR that goes up? It's actually, we made this video and changed these docs that way, and then suddenly people started clicking, and we know this because of data protocol. And that's really interesting. And so there isn't that much infrastructure or architecture around for DevRels to kind of manage community and figure those things out. Like we have companies like Orbit that do pretty well. So how do you guys do you guys do something like Orbit, or do you have some tracking of community, or is that maybe just a separate part that you don't deal with?
It's we're sandwiched in between Orbit and Common Room. Right, like we're the layer in between where information is exchanged in this video first way. The model around Orbit and Common Room that is, inherent to a community component or a, super user advocate empowerment side, right? Like, so there's the everybody needs to talk, and then there's the everybody needs to listen to this one person model, and we're the thing in between, which is let's take that one person and let's put them on demand in the box so that you can engage with them anytime you want to. It's, so we're right in between those two things. I don't see any reason why a developer program looking for tooling wouldn't take all three.
When people watch this and they feel like, hey, this is a cool platform to use for me. Let's say I work at some product led growth startup, super developer first. Can you give us the elevator pitch in like 2, 3 sentences of how these folks can talk to their bosses and say, give me the cash to start using data protocol? How would
Yeah.
you pitch that with
I
that
would
context?
say I would say 2 things, right? As I said to you, if you had 5 minutes with your entire developer network and you knew they were listening, what would you tell them? What would you ask them? Because that's what data protocol enables, right? A fully captive audience and data feedback, both, um, data they enter, questions they, answer, as well as data around proficiency, engagement, time on site, et cetera, et cetera. And then I would say, because frequently I get, "Yeah, but we don't wanna send people away from our site during
That was my
registration
next
process,"
question.
which is why we now build we call studio content, which is what we build for you that lives on your platform. And
Yeah.
the science behind that is fairly simple, is that you don't always need them to be points of data. What you need them to be is informed.
Yeah.
And we can do that faster and cheaper and better. And because we are vertically stacked and instructionally design led, what we're going to deliver for you is better. If video matters, if developer engagement matters to you, we are by far the best solution for the creation of video content and content generally for developer engagement.
Awesome. Thanks, Jake. This was a really exciting conversation for me because I am in this world and we are trying to do those specific things. And it's always great to have someone who builds a product specifically for that. And I can just ask any question I want. So that's awesome. Thank you for your time. And so to end this, where can people find you? What are like the few little CTAs you want to push in here?
So the I've been told that this is borderline insane considering our audience, but I want to hear from your listeners and from every developer that has feedback on data protocol. You can email me, jake@dataprotocol.com. I want that direct feedback. So please let me know what you think. I'm also on Twitter @JacobMWard, and eager to hear folks' thoughts. At a minimum, go to the site, sign up. It's free. It's always going to be free for every developer. There's no charge, and you have
Awesome.
the run of the platform. Check out the courses. Check out the structure. I want to hear your thoughts.
Thank you so much for this, Jake. And hopefully we see you soon. Make deals. Let people go to your platform and experience it. Cheers.
Thanks, Tim. I appreciate it.